In this video, I will show you how you can make 68% annual return every single year on a $639,000 investment. Do you think it sounds too good to be true? Just give me a few minutes of your time and I'll prove it to you right now. So before we dive into the numbers, I just want to answer your question, why am I selling this property? You have to understand that I'm running two other businesses. And these businesses are taking up a lot of my time and I simply don't have enough hours of the day to manage it all. I wish I did, but I can't. So I had to make a difficult decision, and my decision is to sell off this property so I can free up my time and my capital to invest in my other businesses.
Excellent argument. Approved.
Hey there, I'm Kim Park, the owner of Playa Heaven Rooftop. And before I get to the numbers, I just want to tell you that here in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, most investors, they yield between 10 and 12% on most of the good investments. If you buy a condo, a building, buy a house or whatever that you rent out on Airbnb, you usually yield between 10 and 12%, which is fabulous compared to most European and North American deals where you yield in the single digits. But what happens is that most people have to pay management fees to take care of the property to get it rented out. So minus management fees, most investors actually end up in the single digits either way. And I'm here to tell you about an investment opportunity where you can yield 8 to 10 times more than the average property investment right here in Playa del Carmen. So let's get into it. This hostel is specifically designed to maximize profits and cash flow, in addition to satisfying all the different needs that the clients might have. I'm gonna walk you through the numbers right now, but just do me a favor and click the like button and share this content with anybody you think might be interested. And also please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next video where I'm gonna go through the different features of this hostel so you can get all the details. But let's dive into the numbers right now. So first of all, we have 120 beds in this hostel. And this is the biggest capacity hostel in all of Playa del Carmen. I think the second biggest has something like 65 beds or something like that. So we have nearly twice as many beds here, which means that with this capacity, you can basically rent out the beds really cheaply to attract clients just to fill up the building. And I did some extensive research into the competition. And most of the competition, they rent out beds for between $15 and $30, depending on the season in Playa del Carmen. So $15 in low season, $30 in high season. That's what most beds go for. So if you rent out the beds in this building for $10 a night, I bet you can steal a big chunk of the market share and get a lot of clients in the door. You have to remember that most budget travelers, they're squeezing their dollars and they are looking for a good deal. And what better way to invite them to come to Playa Heaven Rooftop than to give them the best deal in town. So $10 a night. If you have 120 beds, that's $1,200 every single day, and that equals $432,000 a year. But you may say, hang on a second, Kim, you have to understand that you're not gonna have 100% occupancy. And you're absolutely right. That's why I'm gonna calculate 60% occupancy, but I'm gonna do that after we put all the different types of income together. So bear with me, I'm gonna put everything together after, but for the beds, you can make nearly $500,000 a year only on the beds. And in high season, maybe you charge $12. In low season, maybe you charge $8 a night. But on average, you charge $10 a night, which is gonna be an incredible deal for the clients. All right, so the next item on the list is drinks. And I mean non-alcoholic drinks, like lemonade, Fanta, Coca-Cola, all of these drinks that you're gonna sell in the bar, but also down in the reception, because the reception is like a little mini mart where you can create like a reception / information desk, and you also have the possibility to sell them coffee, snacks, foods, drinks, and also sell them the tours, tickets to ferries, all the different services like laundry. You can rent them luggage space. You can even rent them bikes. I was thinking you can buy these electric scooters, you know, the kick bikes, and these are really compact and very easy to use to get around the city. You can rent them for $15 or $20 a night. And if you buy 20 or 30 of these, they will be rented out every single day, and that's gonna give you a really good cash flow. I'm gonna get to that in a second. But the soft drinks I was talking about, some clients may buy more. As you may know, in a tropic place like Playa del Carmen, a lot of people are drinking a lot. So I put down $2.50 on average for the whole day for each client. Some people may buy more, some people may buy less, but on average $2.50. Then you get to the food. And I divide it into breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because we have a full kitchen in the bar on this rooftop. You have a full kitchen where you can do everything from tacos, hamburgers, nachos, burritos, all kinds of food that you can sell to the guests. So I will put down $3 on average per food item, just to give you an average spend. Everybody will obviously not buy breakfast, everybody will not buy dinner, but on average $3 per item, which gives you a total of $9 for food. My suggestion is that you basically create a very appealing menu where you put together different food dishes and drinks and everything, and you give very competitive prices. It's better to have people spend money in the hostel instead of going out in the street and eating food in the streets. So you need to have a price that's competitive, but you're still making money, but it's better to make a little bit of money than lose the customer and they go someplace else. But the food is definitely gonna be a big income stream for you. But the next item on my list is a very special item. It's laughing gas. I don't know if you heard about laughing gas, nitrous oxide. It's a big thing. When I was traveling in Asia in 2017 with a friend, we were in Vietnam and we went to this bar district where they had all these clubs and bars, and we went into a bar and the bartender asked us if we wanted to try laughing gas. And I said, oh, I never tried it before, but okay, let's do it. He gave us a balloon, and me and my friend, we inhaled the balloon, and it's the best 60 seconds you ever had in your life. I can guarantee you. It's like the best ever feeling, and it's harmless. I think we spent $300 per person that evening alone just on laughing gas in these balloons, and we just laughed our ass off and had a blast. So in Mexico, it so happens that it's 100% legal as long as you have a company which has a contract with a distributor. And it just so happens that the company which holds this building, my company, already has a contract with a distributor. So they can deliver these big ass tanks with laughing gas, which you can fill up with the balloons, and you can sell them right here in the bar.
Sounds interesting.
And I can assure you, when you're in a social setting with friends and one of the friends try laughing gas and laughs his ass off, you're gonna want to have a balloon as well. And it's impossible to stop. It's so hilarious that this group of people or friends is just gonna continue buying balloon after balloon after balloon. But to lowball these estimates, I just put the laughing gas as $2 on average per person. I can assure you they're gonna spend a lot more than that. But it's just an item that I feel is a really nice addition to the drinks and foods in the bar. So you're gonna make a killing on laughing gas if you wanna implement that as well. The next item is very important. It's the tours. In Playa del Carmen, it's a big thing to go on tours. Everything from cenote tours to see the pyramids, every kind of adventurous tour you can think of. And these tours, they are a big draw. And if you offer these tours in the reception downstairs, you're gonna have a lot of people buying tours and book tours through this hostel. And in many cases, these tours go for anywhere between $50 and $150 a pop. So if you offer these tours, you're gonna make a lot of money. But to lowball again, I put down $5 a tour per person on average. Some people may buy more expensive tours. Some clients may not buy any tours at all. Some clients may buy a $50 tour, but I put down $5 just to make the numbers very realistic. Then you have the next item, which is renting towels. When you check into a hostel, most of the time, the bed sheets and the pillow and everything is included, but the towels you can rent for $1 a person. So $1 a towel per person is gonna be a nice extra cash flow. You have to understand that all of these small services, they add up, and renting a towel is a service that everybody needs, so it's gonna give you an extra cash flow. The next one is luggage space. All of the guests in this hostel has a private little locker that they can lock underneath their bed. I'm gonna show you afterwards, but some people travel with bigger suitcases or bigger backpacks, and they may need to rent space. So you can rent luggage space. We have a great place for extra luggage downstairs. I'm gonna show you more in detail afterwards, but this place will bring in some extra cash flow for renting this space, and I put down $0.50 per person on average. So you can probably rent this space for $3 to $5 per person, but I just put down $0.50 just to lowball that as well. Then the next one is laundry. If you offer laundry service, this is something that all the clients need. Sooner or later, they have to do laundry. And if you offer the laundry service in the reception and you put up a sign, then a lot of people will ask to do laundry. You can charge a nice little fee for this and make a good cash flow out of that as well. So I put down just $2 a pop. And then the last item that I included is the ferry tickets. Here in Playa del Carmen, we have a direct speed ferry out to the island of Cozumel, which is very popular. A lot of people go there. And I put down $3 per person on average for this ferry ticket and commission. And also you have tickets to Isla Mujeres, which is another beautiful and famous island outside of Cancun. A lot of people go there on a day trip or they stay a night or two to Isla Mujeres. So the ferry tickets also will bring you some extra cash flow. So on average, the total spend of each client is $44. And $44 minus 40% because we only had 60% occupancy, remember? So at 60%, that's gonna give you an income of $259,200 per person just on beds alone. On the bar, that's going to give you an income annually $401,760,000 on the bar alone. And on the income from the reception, you're getting an income of $479,520 on average per year. So you have to remember that the reception, that includes all the tours and the renting of bicycles, the laundry, all the snacks, coffee and food and everything that you sell in the reception. And then the bar includes everything from laughing gas, the foods, the alcoholic drinks. Oh shit, I forgot the alcoholic drinks. You can add that to the equation, but just to lowball the whole concept, we're not going to include the alcohol. And as you may or may not know, alcohol is a huge income that you're going to have in the bar, but that's going to be in addition to all these numbers. But we're going to lowball, it's going to be very realistic. We're going to exclude the alcohol, so that's a bonus that you're going to have, an income that you're going to have coming in extra. But the total average income for the bar, the reception, and the beds together, 60% occupancy, gives you an income of $1,140,000 US per year. So $1.1 million per year in income on 60% occupancy.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
Most of the hostels in Playa del Carmen, they have an occupancy of about 70 to 75%. I've done market research, I talked to hostel owners, I've talked to managers all across Playa del Carmen. But just to make things very realistic, we put 60% occupancy right here. But what I think will happen is if you come in as a very dedicated new owner and you manage the property correctly and you do great advertising on these platforms like booking.com and Airbnb and all of this, you can probably drive the occupancy up to 75, probably 80%. You know, I used to rent out student rooms in Oslo, Norway, and I had 100% occupancy. So that shows that if you have good management and you know what you're doing, you can absolutely have very high occupancy instead of the average 70 or 75% that they have. But we now put the occupancy at 60%. So that means that it's very low ball, it's very realistic calculations, but let's see what the expenses are, because now we know that we are making 1.1 million US dollars a year with 60% occupancy, but let's see how much net profit is left after we actually deduct all the expenses. So let's get right into it right now. All right, so we're now going to talk about expenses, but you have to admit that it's absolutely crazy how much you can make when you put together services and products and things that people need, and you put that into the concept. It's going to cash flow extremely well. You're offering the food, renting the bikes, the alcohol, the drinks, the laughing gas, right? Comment below if you tried laughing gas. I would love to hear from you if you know what I'm talking about. But laughing gas alone, I think you're going to cash flow more than the food and the drinks put together, because laughing gas is absolutely hilarious. It's absolutely impossible to stop doing it. Once you try a balloon and inhale it, you're going to have so much fun that it's absolutely impossible to stop. But if you do this and you put all these different services and products together, like even soap and toothbrush and shampoo and all of these things, I didn't even include them here, but if you put them into the concept, you're going to cash flow very, very well. But let's focus on the expenses right now, and I'm going to list them exactly like I did with the income, so you can see the different items and the expenses that we have. But you have to understand that in Mexico, one of the benefits is that the manpower is so cheap that your expense on staff is going to be very, very low. And also one of the main benefits with this property is that we have 26 solar panels, which means that you will never ever pay for electricity for your rest of your life. Do you think that's going to help the concept? Pretty much, yeah. So I mean, 26 solar panels, free electricity forever, and we also have a water well, an 18-meter deep water well that I dug, where you have free water supply forever. That's a huge benefit. As an entrepreneur, you know that the expenses can really take down your revenue, but with a free water supply and a free electricity supply, you have nothing to worry on that front. But let's start with the staff, because it's absolutely crucial that you put together a team of workers, staff that you can rely on, that work the bar and the reception. And my idea is that you need 2 girls working the reception and you need 4 girls working the bar. But just to make things more realistic and to overestimate the expenses, I said that you're going to have 4 receptionists and you're going to have 8 waitresses working the bar. But 4 receptionists, they can also double as cleaners, because you're not going to be working in the reception 24 hours per day. You're going to work there in the morning when people check in, and you're going to be there not all the time, but you're going to be there when people need you. But in between, you can change bed sheets, you can work as a receptionist / cleaning lady. So with 4 receptionists, you're looking at an expense of $500 each, but just to make it even more realistic, I put $1,000 each, which means that you pay $4,000 per month for the receptionist. That equals 48,000 US dollars a year for the 4 receptionists. Then you have 8 waitresses. I personally think that you only need 4 or 5 waitresses, but you also need a couple of chefs. But I put all in all 8 people working the bar, which means that you will pay 8,000 US dollars a month for these waitresses and chefs, and that equals to 96,000 US dollars a year for the bar staff. Then you need a manager, but I'm thinking that you could actually save this for yourself. So my recommendation as an investor is that you come in and work for the first year, that you manage the place yourself, so you have 100% control. You're really teaching the staff and showing them the routines and the rules, and you make sure that the rules are firmly entrenched into the concept, so the staff becomes really reliable and you can count on them 100%. But The manager, if you wanted to put a manager in place, I put down $2,000, and you have no idea how much $2,000 is down here. But for $2,000, you get a really responsible and grown-up manager. You can hire somebody who has experience in hotel management, and that's going to be $24,000 a year for a good manager. Then we have the next item on the list, which is food. And food, I calculated how much food everybody would consume per day. And food, I estimated about $450 a day, but I'm gonna write $660 just to make sure that you have enough money to cover your expenses for food. So $660 a day equals $19,800 a month, equals $237,000 a year for food alone. Then we come to drinks. And drinks, I calculated to $500 a day, but I'm gonna put $700 down for drinks per day. So 700 times 30 days per month, that's $21,000 for drinks, and that equals $252,000 a year for drinks alone. And then we get to the water bill, which I told you, we have an 18-meter deep water well, which will give you free water supply forever for the rest of your life. So the water bill comes down to $0 per month and $0 per year.
Zero!
And then the next item is electricity. Like I said, we have 26 solar panels, which means that you will never ever have to pay for electricity for the rest of your life. So the electricity bill is $0 per month and $0 per year.
Zero!
And then I figured the last item on the list is that you need to pay for maintenance. When you have a hostel like this, there will always be things, lamps, toilets, things that you need to maintain. So I put down $40 a day, that equals $1,200 a month, and $14,400 a year. I can promise you, you're not gonna have $14,000 a year in maintenance, but I put it down anyway, so you can easily cover maintenance. So if you look at the grand total, we come to the grand total, and if you deduct and you calculate the expenses you have, it equals $1,960 a day, which is $56,000 a month, and $672,000 a year. So basically these $672,000 that you will have in expenses per year for food, staff, drinks, everything, that constitutes about 60% expenses for the $1.1 million that you just made from all the different incomes that we calculated. And I can assure you that 60%, you're not gonna have 60%, but I put down 60%, the $672,000, just to exaggerate the expenses. And with 60% occupancy minus the expenses, you come to a grand total of $468,000 a year.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
This is your net profit. So $468,000 a year. That's what you're gonna make every single year after expenses, after everything is paid off, everything you buy, the food, drinks, the staff, everything, which means that you will cash flow about 68% annually if you buy Playa Heaven rooftop for $639,000. If you compare this to the average investment in Playa del Carmen, there are plenty of beachfront condos where you pay $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 or even $1 million for a beach condo, and that yields, if you rent it out, about 8 or 10% annually. And if you look at the same money that you put in, $639,000 that you put into Playa Heaven rooftop, and you yield 68% annually, $468,000, that's a pretty good return.
Sounds interesting.
So if you look at all the other investment opportunities in the market, good luck finding an opportunity where you're going to make 68% annual return.
Excellent argument. Approved.
And if you are a serious investor and this project interests you, please click the link in my bio and book a free call with me. And I will be more than happy to talk about the concept and answer any questions you might have. But right now, you have the possibility to snatch this unique property investment for only $639,000. And once you start to cash flow and you make 68% annually, you're gonna thank me later. But you need to remember to watch the other videos because I'm gonna go through the whole concept, show all the features and all the different bells and whistles. So watch these videos, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll be looking forward to see you on the next video.